Most welcome if you have any queries, or we'll just wait for participants to join. Hari Om Rakhi ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Shruti.
Hari Om. Hari Om Vasudevan ji. Hari Om Deepti ji. Hari Om. We have another 4 minutes in hand, so we can just wait for participants to join, or if you wish to look at any particular shloka, any particular verse, you are most welcome.
Ji.
Hari Om. Yes, Dr. Pushpa ji. Yes, please.
15th Adhyayam,
हाँ जी.
14th Sloka. Can you
अच्छा.
please
Yes.
explain it?
1 second. Yes. 15th अध्याय 14th श्लोक. अहम
Yes.
वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधम्. Is this the one, Ji?
Yes, Ji.
Ji, all right, Ji. So here we see Krishna is saying, I am Vaishwanara. Vaishwanara is there in the Upanishads also. It is referring to, is it Agni or is it the universal flame? They say the universal Purusha, it is Vaishwanara. That is represented by the fire. So I am the one who has instilled the fire, is what Krishna is saying. The fire of life inside of an individual. Now, I think as a doctor you must be agreeing, no? There is heat and fire inside of the body.
Yes,
Whether it's,
yes.
yes, if you see the
Acidity is there.
acid is
Acidity will
there,
be.
but then what, even the powerhouse mitochondria is generating what, this energy of heat only, no? That
Yes.
ushnata, that is that fire, and that is powering the entire. And when we eat, also, what is going to take place? It is just, these are the reactions which consume a lot of heat. No? They are again endothermic reactions which require fire to function. So we can just look at that there is this fire, and fire is a beautiful, what we can say, symbolism. A great symbolism is there in Rig Veda also. It starts with Agnim Miye Purohitam. Agni is called the Purohit, Agni is called the priest. Agnir Hota Kavi Kratu. He is the Kavi, he is the Kratu, the doer also. This Agni is not just the physical fire. A lot of people who gave interpretation of the Rig Veda as just a kind of nature god worship and all that. It is not just that. These are all rishis who had understood a great significance. This fire can also be equated to the fire of aspiration. The fire, what is that fire of life inside of an individual? That aspiring force, that is also equated to Vaishwanara. Sometimes we have a will inside of our heart, a will of fire, they say. That fire allows people, and that fire makes people do so many things. That Krishna is saying, it is I have instilled that. I am the fire inside every living being which is keeping that person alive, by which the physical body of every being is maintained. And here, if we see, it becomes more specific, it is referring to that, maybe we can call it Jatragni in Ayurveda, the force, that fire inside of the individual, controlling the inhalation and exhalation of the life energy. Prana and the Apana, these are the two forces. One force entering inside, the Pranvayu that enters inside, then the one that is going out. So it is by controlling this two, the inhalation and the exhalation. Krishna is saying, I bring forth the digestion. So we see a connection between our inhalation and exhalation, and also the digestive process. I bring about the control over digestion. I digest the four types of foods. Four types of foods is in the foods that are, if you see, when we consume foods, there are different way we chew. We chew food, we gulp food, we sometimes lick different types of foods, and then we drink, is it not? These are,
Yes.
foods can go in four ways. So all these four is what he says, I am the one who is digesting it by controlling the prana and the apana. I am that fire, that universal fire. Vaishvanara is also called the universal male, means the Purusha which is present everywhere. And if you see the Agni, the Rig Vedas beautifully describes Agni in so many ways. First thing, this Rishi, so many Angiras Rishis are there. There's a legend of these Rishis. They have so many suktas dedicated to Agni. What Agni here is, Agni is like the fire inside of all of us also. We have an aspiration, is it not? If you look at it, it is like a lamp inside of us. That aspiration takes us. It teaches us to dream. It teaches us to aspire for something better. Human being worshipping the divine is also an aspiration to realize something which is beyond human. It is a flame inside, and that flame, how does it go? It goes higher and higher. Agni is also called that only, Kavi or Kratu. They say he is the medium who takes the prayers of the human being to the gods. He is the inviter of the gods who, to descend also into the, after the Yagna is done, the Agni is the medium. And then the one Rishi calls Agni like, let me approach Agni. Now, there nobody should say, interpret it as that one person wants to burn himself into fire. He wants to burn all of his efficiencies, all his attachments, because fire is all purifying. And he goes in such a nice way. He says, let me approach Agni like a son approaches a father with ease. Means how easily a son can, he doesn't need a permission. He doesn't need a, I need an appointment with my father. That's not how a son is when he's looking with a father. It's a direct connection. So through Agni, that is why we have Deepa in so many places where we light lamps, because the fire has its own significance. Here Krishna is saying, I am that fire that is omnipresent, that is there everywhere. It is burning whether or not people realize. That is the fire which is making the inhalation and exhalation of a human being possible. That is the fire that is bringing about digestion. Yes, Dr. Pushpaji.
The whatever may be that
Hmm.
bad habits like alcohol drinkings or having
Okay.
wrong type of food, all these will cause this gastritis and all the
Ha ha.
diseases related to this digestion, all the things.
Ji.
How can we relate this Agni bad habit
Agni
and
is
all things?
Agni and bad habits. But means if you see Agni, there are in Ayurveda that's a different subject actually, where certain foods they create heat inside of the body. Dried fruits are good for the body, but you have too much dried fruits, children eat too much, and then when they are young age, they complain about having pimples and everything because imbalance of heat is taking place. So here, can we say Hariom ji, Hariom? Can we say dry fruits are bad? But it is in the wrong quantity, is it not? You have
Yes.
too much of cashew nuts. They like cashew nuts. Children eat a lot of cashew nuts. Then next day they trouble. They say I am having trouble. Now what is here? It is uncontrolled. Fire is so powerful it can burn an individual also. So then have it. We can have it in moderation. That's what prana
It
and
is
apana. Yeah.
more than anything is more than
Yeah.
normal. That
Yeah.
uh,
It's not good for balance is
yes.
lost. Emotions also everywhere. It is yes, ji. Yes, Dr. Pushpaji. All right. I think yes.
Thank you.
Hariom.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, ji. Yes. All right, ji. Srinivas ji will look at that and then probably will immediately start. Yes, please.
Yeah, this Agni produces heat.
Hmm.
What we understand, Agni produces heat. So, what is spiritual Agni? What does it produce? What is equivalent
Agni.
to heat that we
The
feel?
tap.
We can
What do
feel
they? If
physically.
you what is sadhana? There's another word in Sanskrit for sadhana. Tapasya. Tapaha. Tapaha means what? It is a kind of heat, is it not? They are getting that fire of sadhana. Is the person is coming out of that fire of sadhana. How is that individual going to? He is going to be a new person. What is going to happen in this tapasya? What is tapasya? Nothing. Agneya swaha agneya idannamama. All of our vices, I am pouring them as ahuti. Let them burn. Let my incompleteness, let my ignorance disappear. Agni gives light. Again, light is what? Light is sakshatkar. Light is realization. So, Sri Aurobindo has beautiful in his book Secret of the Veda, very beautifully described Agni's significance. So there is a secret of the Veda where different gods, their significance are described. Means Rig Veda rishis were very brilliant. They had two ways of speaking. One is the outer meaning, another was the esoteric or hidden meaning. So those who didn't understand the outer meaning, they were like, no problem. Do the outer. Just who didn't understand the inner meaning, they were like, it's okay. Follow the outer aspects. Do the rituals; they'll benefit you. But then, inside of the rituals, what is the symbolism? What is the meaning of it? Those who understood them, then they understood the truth. Like Krishna says, "Yah pashyati, sah pashyati." On the surface, may not be visible, but afterwards, it is when you go deeper, you can find. So I think yes, with this, let us begin. We will begin with the invocation. and we'll continue our journey to the penultimate adhyay. Hari Om. सरस्वते नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Om Shanti Shanti. Yes, Hari Om. So let us begin. We are now into the 17th Adhyay. I think we just saw less number of shlokas yesterday. We were more focused on the illustration of the types of foods, because that food is an important topic every time. And the first, when Krishna spoke about it, we were very wondering, very curious about whether Krishna is for or against vegetarian or non-vegetarian food. But there's no specific explicit mention. We look at what food is just one portion of this Adhyay. It begins with Arjuna's question. Arjuna's question is, what about those? They have Shraddha inside of their hearts, but they do not follow the scripture. What type of Shraddha is this? Is this Sattvic? Is this Rajasic? Or is this Tamasic? So we'll just go back to Arjuna's question so that we can then enter into the Adhyay. How is this question of Arjuna? Is it relatable? They're having Shraddha, but they don't want to follow the scripture. And what is the reason? Is what Krishna is being asked. That devotion is there, but now what type of devotion is this? Is it Sattvic? Is it Rajasic? Or is it Tamasic? These three natures have been introduced already. There are three natures we have seen: Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And then Krishna told we have to go to a higher state called Gunatit ultimately. But now this question, is this question relatable? Is this question of any significance, or what is your opinion? We can just hear that and then probably move to Krishna's answer. Yes, please.
So in
See,
science, math, if we don't have a formula, do a method called trial and error. We try something, say if it works or it doesn't work.
Ji
So
sir,
not following scripture, having faith means you are doing something and you're not trying. You may be right or may not be right.
okay, so like trial and
So
hit.
trial and error. So when there is a given formula, why not follow it? Why go for trial? Something like
Okay,
that. I
so
think.
you are saying yes. So scriptures are there, follow them. Why not to follow them? Is what Vasudevanji is saying. Okay, Srinivas ji, yes, please.
they are, according to me, they are necessarily sattvic only. Because we have examples of Shabri.
Ha,
She had no exposure to scriptures,
ha.
but she loved the divine completely.
Okay,
So we have the such examples. So we
okay,
can say that it is sattvic only.
okay. Srinivas ji is saying it is probably Sattvic or of the three, as Arjuna has asked. It is even because there is Shraddha, it is Sattvic only. Without Sattva nature, Shraddha is not possible. Is probably what Srinivas ji is saying. All right. Anybody wants to just add further?
Yes. Um, Actually, as Krishna has told us, these three are all present in us, right? And
Yeah.
and then it's beyond that, what Krishna is there.
Okay.
So as you were giving example of, I forgot the name of the poetess.
Bahina Bai Chaudhary.
Yeah, so
Okay.
she did not read any scriptures. She did not do anything like that, but she was consciously like connecting to everything that the God has given, and then she was trying to find peace in that and trying to find God in that.
Mhm.
She had attained that without reading the scriptures also.
Okay.
And I mean, when people read that, they were like
Surprise.
astonished to
Huh.
see,
Okay.
surprised to see that. So I mean, it's more of how much devoted you are, what kind of a shraddha you have.
What is the Shraddha
Because
of the individual?
many people in the world, like we have examples who have not read, but yet they have achieved what Krishna is telling
Okay.
them is to achieve,
All right.
the higher
Okay.
state.
Okay, Deepti ji. Then just one small question. One participant had told her own experience. She had said, I was told kadwa chauth पे नहीं खाना तो अभी मैं खाऊंगी ही, because she has been told by someone. This is how it is a tradition which is being followed. So this person, I believe in the divine, but now I don't want to follow any of these. Now what would you say? Opposing scriptures, is that an ideal way?
No, we should not
We should
oppose
not.
scriptures. We should not oppose. I'm just saying that some people follow, but some may not be able to follow.
But it
But
doesn't
that,
make too much of a difference if the
but
Shraddha is
that,
pure.
as long as you have that Shraddha, as long as you're very, very conscious of doing even the smallest of actions that you're doing and you're
Hmm.
doing with full devotion, because some people may not understand also the depth
Hmm.
of it.
Yes, yes.
Like we are all right now in the Gita session, and
Hmm.
every day we listen,
Ji.
and it may happen, and I'm sure it is really it is happening that we do not remember each and everything that's been said. We are
Hmm.
just picking few things, we forget, we sometimes take it up forward. But some people may not have the privilege of what we are having right now
Hmm.
to do that, but still they may have deep devotion, more than much more than what
Hmm.
we think we have. So
So yes,
there's no opposing, but more importantly,
not
as you
not
said, it's more
attachment.
about, it's more about consciously
So
doing everything and
okay,
dedicating
all
it to
right,
the divine.
perfectly said. Yes, Deepti ji. So one side you're not explicitly attaching to, not for or against. Yes, please. I think Dr. Poonam ji and then Srinivas ji. Yes, please.
Yes, I just want to make a comment on your Karwa Chauth thing.
Yeah,
So, so I believe, or
yeah,
if your body allows
yes,
to do a fast, you can follow. But
yes,
if it doesn't allow, it
yes.
doesn't matter.
Ha,
You
should
should
not
not,
force. That is the
you should
aspect, is
not
it not?
force here. कि
Ha, ha.
आपकी तबीयत भी खराब हो जाए
Ha ha.
fast करके.
Yes, 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 Dr. Poonamji. And interestingly, that same participant she had a previous sanskar, previous experience of being forced, some rituals were forced on her, which made her anti-ritual in her life. So she's like, "Ab nahi karungi. I will not follow. If I have to do like this, I'll not do it." But because she got that experience. Now, interestingly, after the Gita study was over, one day she sent a book to me, or ebook, and it had all the spiritual significance of all the rituals, and she's like, now she's interested in it, but not being forced on her. But sometimes it is like that. When it is forced, it is not going to work. So yes, all right, Dr.
Yeah,
Poonamji.
sometimes we don't question certain things.
We don't
We
feel
don't
like,
understand the depth of it, and that's why sometimes we do so many things superficially because we
yeah,
have been told. But we should try to go a little deeper
deeper. Hmm.
and then connect it with it. And then when you do it, then you know, okay,
Yes,
this is
from
the
the
reason.
inside, no?
Otherwise, it becomes very, very
And when
superficial.
that inside reason, we need not always rely on scripture also to identify the inner reason. Krishna is there. He is the, again, Vaishwanara is where? Everywhere. He is there to teach us. So why not learn? But we need to learn. Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
Deepti ji. All right. Srinivas ji, what you were saying, and then we'll move to Krishna's answer. It's going to be an interesting one. Yes, please. Srinivas ji.
See, most important is uh, love for divine,
Ha. Yep.
unconditional love for divine, 100% faith on the divine.
Ji.
The knowledge of scriptures is absolutely immaterial. It dawns upon you if you have total faith and
Okay.
shraddha on the divine. Yeah.
Okay, all right, Ji. All right, let us just continue. What does Krishna say now? This is Arjuna's question. Arjuna may have heard somewhere. Sometimes he may have felt rebellious and not wanting to do as per scripture. And this could be Arjuna's question, just as it is a question of many of us also. Let us see what Sri Krishna has to clarify. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Trividha Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sa Swabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Cheti Matam Shrunu. It is a triple combination of natures, it may be told. He's not giving a label. Krishna is very clever. They said he's like he participates. He's like in the holy, all colors are there like that. He is somebody who is putting colors everywhere. He is making different colors possible. Yet himself he is staying colorless. It is like that. He does not keep a label at all. So he says a triple combinations of nature. It may be told. Listen, for I shall verily explain the faith threefold. Whichever of the three qualities is dominant in that being, that nature of faith is predominant. So, meaning this Rajas, Tamas, Sattva is not leaving us, its stamp is going to come on our Shraddha also. This is our Shraddha is going to have the force of Rajas or Tamas or Sattva, that is where the color is going to be there. Best example is Ravana. What would you call it? His was it Rajasic or was it Sattvic or was it Tamasic or a triple combination as Krishna told?
It's triple
Triple
combination.
combination, is it not? There was such great, his tapasya was so beautiful. His bhakti for Shiva was so wonderful that it made him rise so much. He was a Pandit who knew 10 Shastras. They called him 10 headed only, Dashagriva. So, this is how he was. But what happened afterwards? When Nandi says he sees Ahankar, Nandi says Ahankar when he goes to meet Shiva in Kailash, he wants to get the darshan and he feels I am the greatest bhakta. I need to get the darshan. And Nandi just, who is Nandi to stop him is the anger which comes inside of him. So Nandi says, no, you shall not pass. And then Ravana gets angry. There Rajas comes in. What was Satvik? With Sattva only he could connect with Shiva, he could go deep into it. But you see what happened there? The Rajas came into place. Like, Shiva is not listening to me. Nandi is barring his greatest devotee. Now I'll make Shiva rise. Shiva, what trance is he going to be in? I will wake him up. I'll wake him up from the trance. I will lift Kailash. And then that was a very beautiful sight where for a fraction of a second, maybe Kailash is hovering, all the worlds, everybody is scared. And then what Shiva did not get disturbed with his foot, with his just thumb, he puts the mountain back down. And then this Pandit starts screaming so loudly, all the three worlds hear his noise, his sound, and that is how he got the name Ravan, the one who cries. And then again, now if you see what happened here, this was a Rajasic force which gave anger at Nandi, and then this was a Tamasic thought. Shraddha gave a Tamasic turn where he's trying to disturb Shiva only, the very person whom he is adoring, the one divine whose bhakti is so much in his heart. He is going to trouble his own Devat only. How is this possible? Well, that is tamas. So we can see these three gunas in Ravana only. And again, Sattva comes back when Nandi tells him, see, Bholenath is there, you please him, he will forgive you, he will help you out of this position where you are screaming in pain, your pain will disappear, worship Shiva. And then Ravana again uses all the Sattvic knowledge and starts the Tandav Stotra, Dija Tatavi, Galajwala, Pravaha. It goes on, it's so beautiful. Even today we all celebrate that mantra of the great Pandit. So is it not Sattvic again? So yes, so this is our gunas are going to keep a stamp on our Shraddha also is what Krishna has said. Bamaji wants to add something?
No, I
Oh.
just wanted to know what is real name of Ravana. Given name.
This is Dashavakra is also they call him, Dashagriva is also they say.
Dashagriva is when he got his head back after he sacrificed every time. He cut his own head and gave it to Agni. Agni gave it back to him 9
Dash-
times. That's how he was not a born freak with 9.
Yes, yes.
10
Dash,
heads.
Dashavak.
He's Vishrava's putra.
Yes.
What was his given name?
You can tell me, Bhamaji, probably. Dashavakra is one name I have heard. Ravana is the most common name which we all know him of. And that is after this particular incident that Ravana means the one who cries. So it's actually like reminding him of that moment every time. When they say Ravan, it is just reminding him of that moment when Shiva has given him a punishment. Indeed. Ji, ji. Yes, please. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. So here Krishna is saying a triple combination, all three, a combination of all three it may be told. Whichever is dominant in that nature, whichever guna is dominating, that person's Shraddha is going to have that stamp of that guna. That also shows Krishna has told we have to become gunatit. So our Shraddha need not have this stamp of gunas. This stamp of guna is also there somewhere because of our ahankar. So somewhere we'll have to make that Shraddha more pure as well.
Shishiji,
Yes,
can
Ji.
you just elaborate a little? Like stamp of guna means what? I mean, of course, if
Stamp
somebody is
of
in,
guna. Now I'll just tell you. Just for example, when I am talking, by my nature, I have one nature which is not probably in a way where I do not get so annoyed or anything. So when I speak, if I have to fight with someone also, I will use some kind of tarka or I will very mildly speak and speak in a particular way. And then there is one more person. That person I know he is also very brilliant person. I respect that person so much. But that person he is like more of what we can say Durvasa Rishi type of person. He is somebody who is we can say we'll call him cranky. But his words are going to have some effect of transformation. I've seen them say give a transformation in people. So what would you say a stamp of Rajas is there? If we can say a stamp of a nature. I would not call it Rajas also. We do not have to label anybody anything. Neither Sattvic, Rajasic or Tamasic. These are all softwares functioning. The day I can suddenly lose my school, I will become Rajasic immediately. The day I speak something wrong or useless in the class, if I am just taking liberty and I speak anything which is wrong, then it would become Tamasic. So you will say a stamp of Tamas is there. And in my words only, is it not?
yes.
there is going to be a stamp of whatever guna is there. So we see, actually we'll see later. Vani also is something which is having an effect. Our gunas have an effect on food also, our Shraddha also, our Vani also. Basically, Shraddha is this
So that
gunas.
means if we do not, we should not label,
Yeah,
right? I
we
mean,
should not. We should not.
because then it will be very
You form
confusing.
something. It is like we have in physics Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, is it not? You cannot predict perfectly the exact position
Yeah,
and
because we are
momentum.
in that state. I mean, we are in either of the states throughout the day,
Yes,
right?
yes.
One, and
And
but the
who are
Shraddha
we?
is like throughout the day, and the
And
states are
yes,
changing. So then, how would we like just
yes, yes. And who
consider
are we to
something?
label anybody
Yeah,
that way also? Which where have we risen somewhere onto a state where we
and
can
not about anybody else. Also for the
ourselves?
self also.
Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, like we are in different states throughout the day. But if we say that I am conscious still, I have that Shraddha still, then it will be very very confusing to say which state of Shraddha I
Yes,
am in.
yes, yes, yes. It is not. It is not for that because it's very difficult to keep measuring all the time. Yes, yes,
Okay.
Deepti ji. Hari Om.
So should be.
जी जी सर
Uh, we had seen that these trigunas,
हम्म
they are indestructible,
त्रिगुणाs are
and
part of
one
prakriti.
gets converted
They
to
are,
other. One gets converted to other. So it exists in every person, in every soul, and depending upon your karma, your thought process,
one interruption, Srinivas
and
ji.
your
Oh,
bhakti.
Hari Om ji. 1 second.
Yeah.
It is prakriti that is imperishable. Gunas are three, and then there is one more fourth state which is gunatit. So sublimation of these gunas into that gunatit state is possible, but they can get
It's
converted
an
if.
only conversion.
Huh?
It's only a conversion. We had compared that thing with our energy.
Okay.
The energy cannot be
All right.
destroyed.
All
It
right.
can
So
only
yes.
be
Okay.
converted.
Fine. So
If you remember.
Ji, okay. So, what is the question, Srinivas ji? Or is it an
No,
observation?
the question is no, no, the question is that when it is present in every person, so ultimately your karma, your thought process, and your prakriti also,
Hmm.
that ultimately decides which will be predominant in you. And
Okay.
again, that may depend upon the situation
Okay. Okay.
as far as human being is concerned.
Yes, this is an
So in
observation.
particular situation, one person might be more sattvic,
Okay.
but it maybe in other situation he may become a tamsi also
Okay.
momentarily,
Okay. So,
because because it is present in every person,
yes, yes.
and depending upon your situation, thought process, your culture, your sanskar, you have a
So, yes,
predominance
ji.
of some particular guna, and others is not that it is in
Okay.
lesser proportion,
Ji, ji. Ji, ji. So,
isn't it?
yes, ji. Yes, that is true. There are so many factors. At one time, Krishna is, that is why he says that he does not answer Arjuna's question. This is Rajasic or Tamasic or Sattvic Shraddha. He says it is a combination, one of the other. We have seen in the three gunas when Sattva is rising, Rajas Tamas recede. When Rajas is rising, Tamas and the Sattva components disappear. Same with the case of Tamas. So, yes, so let us see. Now, next is a beautiful shloka. सत्त्वानुरूपा सर्वस्य श्रद्धा भवति भारत श्रद्धा मयोऽयं पुरुषो यो यश्रद्धः स एव सः. O Arjuna, the faith in every being is distinct, depending purely on the soul's natural instinct. Made up of faith is the inner embodiment living. However, his faith is, that way is the being. So again, Shraddha is so important. If you see, Shraddha helps a person go to beyond the three gunas. Also, Krishna already told in that adhyay. Now Krishna is saying Shraddha of that individual is going to define the person's entire outlook. Means the faith is distinct in each and every person. This is something Shraddha Bhavati Bharata. Each and every individual is defined by their own Shraddha. Their Shraddha makes it what you believe, what you understand, what you live by, that becomes your entire life only. Whatever that is the Shraddha of the individual, that is going to have a stamp. For example, this is a nice example, I think, which this was shared by Sadhguru Jagi Vasudev only. I have heard this story somewhere. He has given this example of people going into a park. What do you see in a park? You see different types of people there. Now a person can see something nice, he can enjoy the park, or the person can go and see there is crap in this corner, there is crap in another corner of the park, and then they see this is not maintained properly and focus only on that. what is going to happen to the experience of the person? The person who is going to enjoy the entire experience of being with the loved ones or in the park. But the person who is only searching for the dirt there, and the person is just going to look at only what is the, this is dung is here, that is there, the perspective is going to be that only. So what is the shraddha of the person? That is the experience of a person. I came across two people going to Varanasi at the same time. Both were known to me. Both had absolutely opposite experience, though both went at the same time, though they are not connected with each other at all. One person is like, see, I don't like this entire thing, I don't like all the systems which have become now very rigid, and everywhere I see it is just a commercial transaction taking place. I don't feel anything. I didn't get any spiritual experience. It's a very I don't like it at all. This is what is wrong with humanity. The person started complaining after coming back. The other person was just even narrating the experience, was having tears, saying how I was Bholenath only helped me. One person, unknown person, called me and I went there. That person did a beautiful Rudrabhishek for me. He did so many things I did not even ask, and I don't know how, from somewhere this person saw me. He called me, and what was this experience? So the same moment. And about the Ganga, the person is having, oh, so beautiful. Is like, please, you want, I have brought for you some of this. You want, you can touch. I was like, so lovely, thank you. I could just touch on my eyes, and I was also feeling pavitra and some lab of listening to the experience of that person, full of shraddha. The same person went, and that person did not have shraddha, did not help them. Mother and brother also enjoy with shraddha. I said, no, 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 this is all commercial. Every place, see, this person is taking money from you. This person is doing like this. The entire experience was only that, and after going and coming, it was like just a, it was probably, it would have been better if we take it Photoshop and put that person's photo elsewhere and with the background change. What was the use of going to that particular place? Because the experience was not got. So what, whether the place has got the experience or not, the shraddha of the individual will make. Shraddha can make. We have seen how Ekalavya made Dronacharya manifest and teach him. That was the power of Shraddha, and this is Shraddha. Shraddha made it possible. We cannot go and say, see, was Ekalavya clever or stupid in cutting his thumb? For Ekalavya, his Shraddha tells him, this is the, he has asked only for the thumb. I've got everything already in. The victory has already been reached by him. It doesn't make a difference. He says, it is with love I gave it. I don't dare. I don't want anybody to question my Shraddha or my Guru also, because I love my Guru and I have Shraddha for him, whether or not what he asks. So this is the Shraddha of the individual. That is a very important aspect. It is something Shraddha Mayoyam Purusha. That is also why Krishna says, no, don't break anybody's Shraddha. If somebody's Shraddha is there, you will have to allow that Shraddha to go on. Why he says, na buddhi vedam, use loka sangra as your means. Find the middle path is what he says for people with opposite thoughts also. But we don't have the right to break anybody's Shraddha. In the Aurobindo ashram also, the mother has talked about transcending rituals, transcending the limitations of rituals. Ultimately, we have to transcend everything. We cannot be bound. We cannot be trapped. God is also not trapped in any way. He is, how is the Purusha. But now one student after these lectures, he starts going and, you are all fools. You are putting flowers for the God and all of this, and he starts quoting this teachings that, see, the mother has said we should transcend all of these, and she gave a very strong message. This is not right. You cannot break somebody else's shraddha without giving them something else to hold on to. It is something. It is a very inner concept. Something I have deep shraddha in. You should not attack anybody's Shraddha Sthan. It is the most pure sthana of that individual. It is something which is very, very sacred. And everybody has it, whether or not a person is a theist or atheist, some one place where it is very close and safe. So we should not try to disturb it. Psychiatrists also say the same thing. You will be in trouble. If the person is neurotic, the person will do something wrong to the individual and harm the individual. But if the person is psychotic, the person who is attacking the Shraddha will have to face the retaliation very strongly as well. So instead, understand that this is the inner aspect. Go to the root. Krishna is saying Shraddha. Shraddha is the, how is the Shraddha? That is how the individual is. It is the fundamental existence and essence. That is why nobody, like Shabari Shraddha, nobody has the right to go and enter into that private territory and say this is not right. That is Shabri Shraddha, it is for Shabri. You don't do it, you don't feel it, don't at all do it. Say it is disgusting for you, it's alright. Do not follow it. Give Ram only the best. You find your own methodology of identifying the best. But do not enter into somebody else's. They say Garbha is there of a temple also. Nobody can enter just like that. That is a place which is the most sacred. So something like that, that is a Shraddha. Many times we don't realize our own Shraddha where it is. We need to find it. The day we find it, we have won everything that is required in life. And then we have to protect that and keep that very careful and clean. So here Krishna says this. So there are ways of people offering Shraddha. People offer in different ways. Yajante satvika devan yaksha rakshasi rajasaha pretan bhuta gunanshanye yajante tamasa janaha. The men of Sattva offer their oblations to the gods. The Sattvic ones, they offer it to the Devas. All their prayers are offered to the various Devas. The men of Rajas, to the brute beings and wealthy demigods. The Rajasic ones are, no, 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 don't worship Saraswati, worship Ma Lakshmi. She'll give you wealth. Or worship Kubera. This is wealth only. Why are you going to go and go for, don't pray for any other god who is talking about Vairagya and all. No, no, no. Ask for some god who is going to give you more wealth, give you more success. So that is a Rajasic trait where a person is wanting Shakti and force and all of it. Aspiring is fine, but that should not be your only relation. It's not a transaction with the divine. So this is one more. The being of Tamas, to the restless spirits offer their prayers, and to the deceased beings roaming in the subtle layers. So then there is this tamasic prayers also, which are offered to the spirits, bhuta, pishacha, all these different spirits they offer. That is a type of tamasic pravritti, which Krishna is telling. So all three. Again, Krishna is just giving an example. He is not labeling, so we don't have the right to label anybody because this person is worshipping another. He's already told it is a inner sacred aspect of an individual. Let us go on. अशास्त्र विहितं घोरं तप्यन्ते ये तपोजनाः दम्भाहंकारसंयुक्ताः कामरागबलान्विताः. But here, if one was to understand, Krishna says, against the teachings of the scriptures celestial, they perform austerities violent and bestial, powered by their egos, propelled by their arrogance, with restless pride, with restless desires, they pride themselves in ignorance. So then there are some who go against the scriptures purposely, and they do very violent austerities which are not demanded also. They make it and they take a lot of pride, and their own ego is their driving force for their sadhana. It is not Shraddha, it is not surrender, it is Ahankar that is driving the sadhana of the individual, and they take pride in their own Ahankar as well. What do they do then? Karshayantah sharirastham bhutagrama machetasah mam chaivantah sharirastham tan vidya sura nishchayan. They torment and torture their physical components, subjecting their bodies to the extreme elements. The crude minds also discomfort the me seated within. Understand such beings to be demonic creatures of sin. He says, understand this is the Asuri Swabhav in the Shraddha which is coming of an individual. With Ahankar, we have seen Ahankaram, Balam, Darpam, Kama, Krodha. All these are driving their spiritual practice. Then what is it? He says this is Asuri and Tamasi also, where a person is tormenting and torturing. There are many cults where people injure themselves and they say this injury of mine is going to the divine and divine is experienced, this is my offering. And it is again, maybe an individual is doing is fine, but why are they are going to enforce this on to the next generation onto the next generation. There's no chance of escaping also, and this is the only way they believe, and they go and trouble the divine. Krishna is saying this is discomforting the divine inside. A great Kavi has, I think this is a beautiful bhajan I've heard of Anup Jalota. He says, it's like, I have got this chadariya from the divine. The divine maker has made a beautiful blanket. And Jhini Re Jhini, he has beautifully made it. And then I have given it back just like that without allowing anything to, not a single scratch on it. I have maintained it so beautifully. It's not my property and I have given it back to the maker. That is how a life should be. Means not this physical body also is a gift which we have got. Where do we have the right to torture our own physical components in the name of sadhana? It is not. And like I think Pudamji said, Dr. Pudamji shared, one must not force. If somebody doesn't want to do a particular fast, one need not. A very nice example I can think of from what Dr. Pudamji shared was my own teacher Damliji when he was very young, means probably not even in his teenage. His father was a great, what we can say, karma yogi. Also, he was from the Vedic tradition, but he left and he became an executive. He was a Brook Bond Shield controller. This is maybe in 1970 say 50s or 60s. The story is at that time. So for their home Dattatreya, there was this great Abhishek was going on, puja was going on, all of it. And now till that is over, you cannot eat the food. So many brothers were there; they were all hungry. Now he said, "I am not going to wait," and he is very strong. It's like I said, everybody has a nature. His words very minimal, sharp words, but I have seen simple, sharp word bring about big transformation. Means it's not. We sometimes we use unnecessary extra words. What I feel when a same word can have a greater transformation. So he was that time when he was young, he was afraid of his father. But when a matter of principle comes, he was very firm. So he just went and he started eating. His mother was like, "No, what are you doing? You will get scolding." And suddenly the father finds out he's eating. Then he's like, "Who are you? Why are you eating?" He says, "I am Datta. I am Datta, so I am eating." Now, then the way he told it, his father asked him, "Then what do you want me to do, Namaskar?" He says, "Up to you. If you want." And that day his father did understand something, though very strict. And this is how what we can see. That was a principle, very strong principle. That in the name of this, you cannot keep me. I am very hungry, and my physical body. I do not allow this. This is going somewhere against the spirit, is what he felt. Because sometimes there are cases of people having hypoglycemia also, and people don't take care of their body as well. Then what's going to happen there? And still people hold on to the ritual when it's torturing. What's the use of being alive? Sometimes people have got hypoglycemia and no, 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 my kundalini is getting awakened. And it's a dangerous thing also sometimes. But what we see, what we understand is no tormenting of physical components is required at
We
all.
should listen to our body
Yes, and the inner spirit, more
and the
important.
mind. Yeah.
Yes, most importantly. Yes, yes, yes.
Kushal uh, what I feel that this is means Dr. Poonamji gave example of fasting.
Hmm.
So I think there are two components of doing fasting. One is a purification of your physical health, and secondly, to increase to enhance your power of mind.
Yeah.
That is determination. That is very important when
Yes, yes.
doing bhakti also,
Yes,
because
yes.
that aspect we cannot forget. It is
Absolutely.
definitely mentioned in our scriptures also the importance of fasting.
Yes, yes. Srinivasji,
So,
Damleji
so
at
fasting,
76
fasting,
for 5 days, he didn't take even a single morsel. Just a few years back, not years back, just a few months back, we were all worried. What is this? What is this? How is it possible? And we thought a person cannot go on for more than a day or two. And we were all, I actually almost had tears in eyes, wondering what is this? Is this? But the spiritual aspect was understood. But who is understood it should understand and follow it. But it should not be what we are
yeah,
talking about, the
I will,
imposition. Otherwise, intermittent
I will
fasting
give,
is upvas given to us from the West. They are talking about intermittent fasting as a medication, but it is a upvas, the same thing which we have been doing in Sanatan Parampara. Upvas's benefits, even physical benefits, not just adhyatmic, have been described in Sanatan Dharma. But they are being repackaged and no, 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 upvas is bad, but intermittent fasting is good. Pranayam is bad, but cardiac rhythmic breathing is good because it has got packaged in the same concept. No, Srinivas, yeah, what we are talking about is the physical tormenting of the body. People, if you know certain cults,
see, here, let me quote an example.
all
Here,
right, ji.
I stay in Gujarat.
Ha
So
ha.
during Navratra, many people they undertake fasting. So one
Yeah.
of my friends, he was a software engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and he since so many years during Navratri, Nirjali Upavas for 9 days
Yes.
without disrupting his routine
Yes.
work.
Yes.
I have
Yes.
seen him doing it.
Yes, ji.
I have seen him doing it.
Our Pradhan Mantri
And
also
another
does that.
quality another quality I had noticed about that friend was whatever he decides, he does it. He completes it.
Ji.
So what will come? So I think it has got something to do with your power of mind, power of
Ha ha. Yes, I
determination.
am not
So it is
touching on to the aspect of a negative aspect of fasting at all. What I am saying is tormenting and torturing the physical aspects. Like you said wonderfully, like your friend, this is a and upvas is definitely good. Ayurveda says that. Actually, Ayurveda says you can have even 1 or 2 meals a day is also sufficient. Our body has got accustomed to having 3 meals. This is why it is the entire. It is like it is a system which we have got. A sanskar has been created. We'll have to rework on it fasting can help a person. Yes. Now, what I'm talking about here is if you see certain cults, we're not naming any cult, of course, they torture themselves, they make wounds on their body, they cause them to bleed, and that is a kind of, it is not the right way of offering to the divine, is what Krishna is saying. You are troubling your own physical component, which has been given to you by the divine, in the name of the divine, and you're offering it. This causes me discomfort, is what Krishna is saying. That's not the right way. So let us continue to the next shloka. आहारस्त्वपि सर्वस्य त्रिविधो भवति प्रियः यज्ञस्तपस्तथा दानं तेषां भेदम् इमं शृणु. Even the foods that are consumed by every creature, depending on liking, are threefold in nature. So too is sacrifice, austerity, and charity. Listen to me, for I shall explain with clarity. So here, ahar also, then the austerities that a person performs, the dana also, the yajna also, everything is having the stamp of the three gunas. Let us see what Krishna says. Ayuhu sattva balarogya sukha priti vivardhanaha rasyaha snigdhaha sthiraridya aharaha satvika priyaha. We saw sattvic nature does not create any diseases in a human being. When sattva nature was being explained, it makes a person calm, it makes a person peaceful. Now we see ahar also of a person with a sattvic nature. Krishna is calling it. The men of sattva prefer the following food. To them, all that nourishes and prolongs their life is good. A succulent, smooth, and firm diet they choose to adhere. For to their mind and bodies, this type of food is most dear. So here, men of sattva, they prefer the following food. Anything that is nourishing them, which is going to prolong their life, they understand this is good for the body. They're conscious of what is the effect of the food on their body. They prefer a succulent food, they like a smooth food which is easily digestible, or a firm food which is going to be good for their body. That they choose to adhere. For to their minds, this type of food is most dear. It is their natural choice and preference. If you give that person a choice, here all these type of foods, he'll automatically go to that direction only as sattvic food. Normally, if you see with age, people start moving towards sattvic food by default only, because then body starts sending wrong signals. No, this food is creating trouble. So it's like then there's no choice only. But why do we have to go to a point where we don't have a choice? Instead, why not? Because when we teach to children also, one student I remember telling, my sister, she takes the classes for children. He said, I like Rajasic food only. I like only Rajasic food. And he started describing all the Rajasic foods. Now, young children, we cannot tell them don't eat this or don't eat that. But we need to give them the right information also. So she mildly, she just told, yes, yes, but you can try, you can ask your mother, ask your father what type of food is good for you. You eat only that, don't have too much attachment. That's all what she told. But the very next day, again, the same child had a very long face. And what happened? Why are you not today? Because children are very clear. You can see in their faces the smile. You understand whether they agree, disagree, and everything. So what happened? Why? What happened is what she asked. No, I like only sattvic food now. And she didn't like my sister was wondering what happened. Why yesterday you were saying Rajasic food? No, now I have boils in my mouth now. Doctor also, everybody are telling me to eat sattvic food only, because now the food has made a person now choose this type of food, because the consequence of Rajasic food created a trouble, and now the person is eating sattvic. So this sattvic nature makes a person choose food that is good for their body. They understand the food. They are conscious of the food, how it is, what's its effect on their body, how is it affecting their mind also, because they are sensitive, they can understand that. But what about Rajasic? कट्वम्ल लवणात्युष्ण तीक्ष्णरुक्ष विदाहिनः आहारा रजसस्येष्ठा दुःखशोक मयप्रदः. The men of Rajas very much enjoy consuming all that is bitter, sour, salty, hot, dry, and dehydrating. Born of anxiety and worry, they are affected by ailments, and their health is affected by their temperaments. So again, Rajasic food, they like all that is salty, which is dehydrating. Mostly oily foods are dehydrating. When you eat a lot of pakoras, then you feel thirsty, because that has the food has a tendency, all oily foods or all these foods, they have a dehydrating effect on the body. All that is dry, which is spicy also, which is extremely salty or sour or of the strong taste, or even bitter types of foods which people enjoy, that gives them a kick when they take something better also. So all of this, Krishna is saying, these are Rajasic foods, and Rajasic foods lead to anxiety and worry also. This is not some superstition. This is what modern day nutritional psychiatrists are claiming to discover, what already Krishna has told. This is already there. The link is there. If you see a doctor, they will not tell you Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. But if you have hypertension, every time the doctor will say, don't eat salt. Reduce the salt intake in your body. Stop, and they say, no, no plain salt. Now move to rock salt. Enough of all of this. Well, basically, he is telling you go to sattvic food. At least now, body has given you enough signals. If you don't do this, body will take the next drastic step, which you also don't want. I also don't want. So better go back to the right way. The same thing it is, because anxieties are also born in a person with this type of food. And I can give you from my personal experience how food affects an individual. In my college days, we were sports players. Badminton we would play. So I had gone to a different city. Now, when you go to a different city, you have full freedom to eat what you want. You can do whatever you enjoy. All of that, that freedom is there. Normally, we had what we can say, we have a discipline. Our coach was very strict, so we know what has to be eaten before the match, what should not be eaten. But this time, we knew our opponents already, so they're not going to give us too much of a challenge because their skill level is not too high. So then my friend gave me a brilliant idea, which I also enjoyed it very much. He said, let's have biryani. Normally, before matches, we don't eat any spicy food. We have only food that is good for, it's like some very light foods which do not trouble us. But these opponents only, let us see, is what he told. Just little bit, don't have to eat too much. And I also agreed. And then when the before the match started, as a process where we just do a little bit of dribbling, we just move around, and before the match, just get the feel of the court and the game and all of it. At that moment, both of us walked towards the net, and he was also telling me, I was also telling, I'm already feeling tired and feeling all the sweat. Before the match started, only we were feeling the food inside speaking to us and draining all our energies. And really, we realized this was a very wrong food, and that match, which was supposed to be very easy, became a very tough one. Luckily, we won it, but that was the aspect of the food. So strong it has on the body, we do not realize how much of our consciousness is eaten. That's why they say pranayam must be done 4 hours after eating, because our body is already busy in the digestive process. That kriya, do not interfere with that kriya, or better have food which is not consuming too much of your energies. Kidney problem, they say start eating sattvic food only. Creatinine levels are too much, stop non-vegetarian food. You are not allowed to eat non-vegetarian food, because now your creatinine levels, they are causing a strain on your kidneys. So this is a doctor's advice. It's not somebody, what we can say, just a superstition. So this food, Rajas, is one which is causing ailments and anxieties. What about tamas? It is also a strange one. Tamas is a nature which is a I've never been able to understand what is the entire purpose of this nature only. But it is there. We have to, what we can say, accept what is there in nature. यतयामं गतरसं पूति पर्युषितं च यत् उच्छिष्टमपि चामेध्यं भोजनं तामसप्रियम्. The men of tamas derive a pleasure perverted in consuming food that is cold, stale, and rotted. Foods that are full, tasteless, and even decomposing sour, like animals, even leftovers they choose to devour. So this is the tamasic pravritti. Nowhere we see anything nice in tamas. They get a perverted pleasure in consuming food that is cold, stale, and rotted. They have the fresh food. They say, no, look, let me keep it in the fridge. I will allow it to go become more tasty, is what they say, after it becomes more fermented. Sometimes that leads to food poisoning. I know of a friend who allowed something to remain in the fridge because it becomes tastier ritual which he had in his head, and then had to suffer from food poisoning because it became very bad. So this aspect of cold food, stale food, rotted food, sometimes even food which are full, which are tasteless also. Sometimes they're decomposing also, and still people prefer eating. That is a tamasic nature inside of that individual. It is, Krishna is saying, it's like animal only devouring all of it. Because these foods also have an effect on lowering our consciousness. Rajasic has a nature of raising extra energy, anxiety, all of it. Tamas has the tendency of reducing. Sometimes some foods have a soporific effect also. Example is, if now if we had sessions in the afternoon time and everybody is given curd rice, I don't think we will have successful 1 hour sessions because curd rice induces sleep so well. It is known in South India also. All of us we understand its balance. It is good for the balance also, but it does have an effect of inducing us kind of some kind of sleep is there. That drowsiness enters inside. So there are foods like that. Why look at only South Indian food? There is also North Indian pokhal. Has anybody heard of this pokhal? Rice. So yes, one Sanskrit Pandit and who is a student of Damliji also. He was a karyakarta whose work is to spread the language. He would go in different places, and so he got transferred to Orissa. From Orissa, he called and he told Damleji that how is everything. He said, "Ah, yes, yes. What is going on? What is your routine?" Because he knew he would get up early in the morning, do so many Surya Namaskars. When he was in front of Damleji, also all of that was going on. He says, "No, now we get up a little late. Then when does your day start?" It starts sometime around not 8, 9, 10 a.m. It says that starts in the afternoon. And he said, "What happened? You are going there and getting kind of satisfied in the routine and not doing any work." He says, "No, see, it is not my fault. It is the diet that we are eating. We in the early morning we allow that rice which is remaining. They put water in that rice and it's a way of treating that rice so it becomes a little more fermented and it tastes good and that is the staple food which the karyakartas were eating. After eating that, he says we feel sleepy. Then we say anyway it is now morning only. What is the use of working right now? People will also be getting up just now. So why not allow some more time to go and correctly by afternoon only the real activity starts. Then he was also joking, of course, he's a senior person, but the way he was telling was he was describing the effect of the food on the individual, how a fermented food or they are having a chance of lowering a consciousness of the individual. So this is exactly what Krishna is saying. So the food has an effect on the bearing. The nature is probably choosing a food. Some people you give them rajasic food also they'll say no I don't want it no matter what happens because that person prefers sattvic food. It's not something that the person is trying to bring on because that is the nature of the person. So what is the nature? The person chooses that type of food. Not only is choice of a person governed by the nature, but sometimes the food also is having vice versa effect also. Food affecting the thoughts or thoughts choosing the food. So that is one thing. Let us go to the tapasya, penance, the 19th shloka. Now just one second. We stopped at shloka number 10th, is it not? 11th one. Yes,
Yes.
11th shloka. Yes. Afala afalangshirbhir vididrushto ya ijjate yashtavyameveti manaha samadhaya sa satvika. When the sacrifice is performed to the deities and divine lords without seeking any personal gains or rewards, concentrating and being focused as per scripture and bereft of desire, it is said to be of sattva nature. So when a sacrifice is done, when a yajna is done to the divine, without expecting anything in return, without seeking any reward, any personal gain, concentrating and focused just as per scripture, then it is said to be sattvic. So real sattvic yajna is that which is actually done as for the sake of the yajna, not for anything else. Agneya Swaha, Agneya Idanna Mama, Suryaya Swaha, Surya Idanna Mama, not for anything else, not for me, not for me. It is done as an offering. What does the person get? Yaha Pashyati Saha Pashyati, somebody who realizes it, participate in a yajna without asking anything in return and experience the joy. What raising of consciousness happens, what happens after that when you have participated right, that you should experience yourself. But this is the sattvic way. But then again, अभिसंधाय तु फलम दंभार्थम अपि चैव यत् इज्यते भरतश्रेष्ठ tam yajnam vedhi rajasam. But those sacrifices that are performed with desires, O Arjuna, when for material benefits, when one aspires, accompanied by a flagrant exhibition and hype, no such sacrifices to be the rajas type. So they are done for material benefits only and they are done with a hype. It's showing everybody. It's like Sattvic person does a yajna, neighbor will also not know yajna took place. But Rajasic person does a yajna, why neighbor? Next 2-3 colonies also will know there will be posters of this person doing yajna. Probably Agni Dev also should feel grateful that this person is doing yajna. Is the bhava there. Because this hype and exhibition that I am doing, I become so important. There's no swaha only. They just want to experience the bhoga only of that. That is rajasic. But what about tamasic? And tamasic is again, why do a yajna itself in the first place? If you are doing in the tamasic way, it's better not doing, because vidhihinam srishtannam mantrahinam adakshinam shraddha virahitam yajnam tamasam parichakshata. Tamasam parichakshate. Krishna says the sacrifice is performed against the scripture without following any procedure, devoid of faith, devoid of mantras, devoid of offering or food or charity. Such a sacrifice is said to be tamas in quality. Means it is just tamas. Means what is the use of doing a yajna? You are trying to follow a particular methodology. But here this is going against it. It says you sit, no, I will lie down and offer. You have to offer this way, no, I'll throw it. This kind, what is the use of doing? I have Shraddha, no, I don't have Shraddha. Then why are you doing it in the first place is a big question. This is what tamas is. There's no mantra, there's no faith, there's no offering, there's no dana, nothing is done. What is the use of such a sacrifice? There's no use, but that is tamasic. People do that also. That is a nature. Tamasic nature leads to tamasic yagna only. Krishna goes on. Deva Dvija Guru Pragnya Pujanam Shaucha Marjavam Brahmacharya Mahimsancha Shariram Tapa Uchyate. So tapa also is of three types. Sattvic is there, Rajasic is there, Tamasic is there. But Sattvic tapa is itself divided into three subtypes. There are three ways of Sattvic tapa which make it possible. We'll probably be able to see tapascharyas three types today and then probably pause. So, first one, worshipping the Godhead, the spiritual master, the man of wisdom, the immaculate, the Brahma seeker, the liberated, the non violent, and the celibate, all as a way of bodily penance, one can postulate. So, Guru Seva, this seva to the spiritual master, to those brahmacharyas, many times people devote their entire life for a particular aspect. So, Krishna is saying serving them is a type of sharirik tapa. Have you noticed sometimes very great people who are in big fields and all of that, they have become what we can say masters of different kshetras. They suddenly go to a particular mutt or some ashram and they take a broomstick and they start cleaning. Has anybody seen this anytime? Or they suddenly go and do some other work elsewhere. Have you seen that? Anybody is aware of it? Yes?
Not in particular, but as I know about in Golden Temple when people go,
Ha ha ha.
they do that. Even in once I heard interview of Sudha Murthy.
Okay.
So she said that when she went to the Golden Temple, so she saw all this, like everybody is equal. There was
Yeah.
no, I mean,
Hmm.
no buddhi ved, as they say,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
Bhagavad said. So she was so inspired by that
Hmm.
that now in Karnataka she goes to one of the temples. I don't remember the name,
Hmm.
but she goes to a temple and there she serves. She sits, she cleans all the vegetables, and she's like a normal person.
Hmm.
And for 4 to 5 days she stays there. She does everything that anybody would like not expect a person of her stature to do that.
Okay.
But she says that to samarpan and arpan. So she said that she does that, and because that she got really inspired, and she's been doing like for many years now.
Yes, yes. So this is what we call a sharira tapa, where physical means tapasya. In tapasya, this is an important aspect. Serving elders. This is what does it require? It requires a lot of physical effort, apart from mental effort also. People are not willing to lose their identity wherever they go until their last minute in their deathbed. Also, people hold on to their identity. They don't want to let go. But suddenly letting go. What is when you surrender? Surrender to whom? Surrender to the divine. You're not surrendering to an individual, but recognizing through an action, through this. Why in the previous adhyaya also Krishna says, serve the Guru, ask questions, and go and then serve and do some service that will give you all the knowledge which they have. They may have gone all to different parikramas. Why people go to different places? Dr. Abdul Kalam would go to this Pramukh Maharaj, Swamiji, and the Swaminarayan Sanstha, and so many long conversations. And he would serve him. He considered him as his guide only. And what did he get there? Why he is like this? Why should he serve? No, that is an important aspect of tapashcharya. That is where you will learn. Without that, they say Guru bina jnana kahan se paun. Where will I get that? How will I find it? So surrender. Krishna, when you don't have a physical guru, it's all right. This why do we say Krishna Vande Jagat Guru? He is a Kshetrajna. He is present in every Kshetra. You will find him wherever you want to look. But serve, serve. This is important. And why people do this? Physical also. There is one person I know in his 60s. I went to meet him through my teacher. I got introduced to him. Very frail gentleman. The sadhak. He had devoted his life for sadhana. He was in charge of a unit. And when I went to see him, yeah, I really his name was something else, making meaning very strong person. And when I saw it was not at all very opposite to the name. And then he suddenly was he took the broomstick and he was sweeping and he swept for 2 hours in the early morning. I was surprised. First thing I said, can I do it? No, no, ये मेरा काम है, मुझे करना है. I didn't understand that was number one, but he did it. Second, I was where what is this law of conservation of energy is broken here? How is he having so much energy to do this so long? 2 hours, such a person's this age, and he's still doing it. I was so surprised. And then I understood because that day at 12 o'clock we were going to, before the construction of our unit was going to take place. At 12 o'clock we were going to go and do a small puja at that place. And we had to put some relics were decided. We have to make a hole in the ground and we are going to sit there and cover it up. Now he came and they call it what we can say kadapar, or I do not know in Tamil, sabal they say in Hindi, one long metal rod which is used to displace the soil. It was a heavy one, and I said, no, 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 I am young, I was just fresh engineer. As he is a senior person, I should be the gentleman and I should take it. And so I took it, I will do it, is what I said. Now I started trying, and after a while, I'm sweating. I'm not able to do it properly because I have not understood how to use it also. And here he says, he just raises his hand. He said, "Leave it. I will do it." And within 5 minutes, how it took 10 minutes to displace only this much. In 5 minutes, he's done more than double what I did. And that was I understood. See, no, he's not just doing it unconsciously. Each work is being done consciously. Then I understand that while I'm eating with him, he starts talking about all the pancha koshas. The same person who's taking a broomstick and he's cleaning. And what he was talking was just going about beyond, beyond, beyond. It was just going, and it was for me. It was like Tare Zameen Par. Suddenly, I'm not understanding what's going on. What is he speaking? So look at that. Sadhana is so deep. He himself collects the flowers. He's got attendants under him to do this work, but he doesn't do it. He says, "Mataji के लिए ये मेरा काम है. मुझे ये करना है." Now, somebody would say physically he's trying to keep himself healthy and fit. No, there are 100,000 ways of being physically fit, but not this. This is very troublesome. You keep what leaves keep falling from the trees on the ground, and he's going for 2 hours. He's trying to remove all the leaves which keep falling every time, and yet he's been doing this for several years. Well, this is a sharirik tapa. This is important. We must do all mental. Who's going to take care of the sharira? When are we going to do this? Why don't people go and do something for society or some people, some organization? Because our contribution of our physical deha is there. Why do we disrespect our deha? Just as we have a dharma towards our deha, we have a dharma of utilizing our deha for doing something good. Say paropakarartha phalanti vrukshah, paropakarartha dahanti gavah, paropakarartha vahanti nadyah, paropakarartham idam shariram. When the cows are giving milk for the everybody else, when trees are giving fruits for everybody else, when rivers are flowing for everybody else, what is your body for if not for everybody else? Is the meaning of that Subhashit. So Sharira Tapa is an important aspect. So here worshipping the Godhead, the spiritual master, man of wisdom, the immaculate one, the seeker of Brahma. That is why sometimes in different traditions, even in Jain traditions, when these great these yogis come, they are very small in age if you look at it age wise, but everybody, even the elders, come and do the namaskar. Why is that? It is not that this person is like this. They say dharma vruddheshu vayana samikshate. What is there? What is age in that path of dharma? Here, that is exactly what the reason is. Let us understand with that humility, with that namrata, we'll receive something. Otherwise, what? What is going to come? It's like we'll become a wall. Nothing. Grace will come and bounce back from us also. What's the use of not having any receptivity at all? So, this is one. The second, Sharira Tapa. Then there is something else, the penance of speech. अनुद्वेगकरं वाक्यं सत्यं प्रियहितं च यत् स्वाध्यायाभ्यसनं चैव वाङ्मयं तप उच्यते. So there's another tapa of the vangmaya, uttering words that cause others no disturbance, speaking the truth with kindness and tolerance. Studying the principles that the scriptures ancient preach, all these together constitute the penance of speech. Now, here, uttering words that cause no disturbance. We should not speak words which cause disturbance outside, is what Krishna is saying. Means we should not have the intention of causing disturbance anywhere else. Can you speak the truth without causing disturbance? Is my question. For somebody who is not on the path of truth, will not truth cause disturbance? Somebody who is not accepting the truth, will that person not be disturbed by the truth? So, how is it possible here?
Yes.
Speaking the truth with speaking words that do not cause disturbance.
Speaking with love.
Okay, Melanji has perfectly said yes. Speaking with love. I think doctors have to practice that when they are with patients. They cannot. Sometimes they have to. Even we can. Some people say this is a lie. You are having good chances of survival, but in the heart, the doctor knows. Ki, yeah, this patient. I do not know what is going to happen. They say, now God, please you work on them. My logic says this will not work. Many times this is the case. So here you don't have to speak in a way to you can, because truth has its own power of its own. You don't have to add words. You have to speak the truth with kindness and tolerance. This is the Sanatan Dharma way. This is the way. Speak the truth. Truth is so powerful on its own. You don't need to add any other aspect to it. The moment you add your Rajas aspect into it, you are actually going to some way move away from truth also, because truth is very subtle. But speak the truth without causing any, with a great kindness. Satyam bruyat na bruyat satyam apriyam priyam cha nandrutam bruyat esha dharma sanatana. Means speak the truth, which is good to hear. That which is not right, don't speak. Like again, Krishna has told the same thing. Where somebody does not want to receive something, why are you going to add? A very interesting thing happened in my life only during these Gita sessions only. Now, if you see, while we enroll, a simple formality is we start with Hari Om, is it not? First message is Hari Om and name of the person. What is the logic behind it? There's no great major logic. It is just that before the session only you are now connecting your name with Hari's name, Hari Om, and we are using that. That's just a symbolic act. So a friend of mine who was contacted me, and because friends know you very well, so they're like, I want to join. Like, fine, wonderful, and give me the tell me the fees. I'll immediately transfer. It's like there is no fee here, but you can join. But there's one fee. You have to say Hari Om. That was just a simple dialogue, a joke which you can talk with friends. I said that. And like, why I have to say Hari Om? It's like, no, that's the requirement. Everybody is doing. And this went on. I did not respond very harshly also, but then this person suddenly left the group also. First was there, it was one batch, and that time we had very strict enrollment times also, because we had many batches going on continuously. So this batch would be complete. We will not add anybody else. But now Hariom, this person just left, and he said, I thought you were not so rigid, and I do not. I thought I had come for learning, but I feel you are like this. You are very rigid already in your own limitations, and all of it. I got a big message. I said, good, you don't want to join then. Somebody else who can join, I'll add. Now, if you see, this was a very wrong statement which I did not realize that. I got irritated and I responded normally, and I just said, good. That is all. Next thing I know, that person has deleted the online profile, that person has gone offline, and I did not understand that person had a panic attack by my statement, and I didn't. Later on, I felt very bad, and for 5 months, 6 months, I had to do a tapasya of my own, trying to understand what went wrong. First, I was not understanding what was wrong. Then, how do I make it right? And finally, Krishna helped me. I got back in touch, and we're now good friends again. But I understood that the person was going through so many things in life at that time. But I had added to something because of my guna here, unnecessary intervention of guna, saying, good, you do not want to join. But then what happens there? The truth was already troublesome, and you have added aspect of individual. Here, this person went through life, was going through a very bad situation. Probably, if I had not said that, I could have probably just taken the phone and talked to the person in a different way. Maybe the person would have attended this and probably got what the Gita had to give the person. But here I went away from the truth because I did not follow the right way. Where I did not, I unnecessarily added a harshness. We don't need to add harshness. When you have to speak the truth, speak the truth. We don't have to hesitate about speaking the truth. But while speaking the truth, what are your words? Because they say, Shabda tumhara ho sanjeevan. Your word can become, if you do right tapasya, single word, every word becomes a mantra of a person, and that mantra can bring about a transformation. And I have seen this happen. I've seen this happen. Words bringing about simple words from my teacher. I remember he spoke only one thing to one person and great transformation. One mother was afraid of lizards, and she was in front of my teacher, and she was just going to become pregnant and going to become a mother. And she there's a lizard, and she reacted in such a weird way. And the Amriji just asked, "What type of mother are you giving your child? Is she going to be a Veera Mata or she's going to be afraid like this?" That one word was enough for bringing about a transformation. Immediately, within 2 days, she is trying to find lizards, holding them by the hand and throwing them out. And then the doctor says, the pediatrician says, while I'm giving injection, this child is not crying or is not afraid. There is no fear factor inside of this child. The pediatrician's words come out after a few years. So what is this? This fear gets transmitted also, no, from one individual to another. Mother's thoughts, sanskar also enter the child. And here she did that one word of what are you going to do? What child are you? What mother are you giving to the child? Nobody had asked her that question. The moment she looked at that perspective, she was like, no, I am not going to be like this. So this aspect of words, they have the power. So Krishna says, uttering the words that cause others no disturbance, speaking the truth with kindness and tolerance, studying the principles which the scriptures ancient preach. All these together constitute the penance of speech. This is a very important tapasya, the penance of speech. Many times, what words we say, we don't realize the consequence of the words. Many times, words we cannot undo also, and then they have drastic consequences. It is very rare that when you do a wrong by your words, that you get an opportunity to, they say prayashchit or correct it. Sometimes life just goes away, and just because of a dialogue of a person, entire things, roads part, so many things happen, and then that moment never comes back again. So many moments in life come there. That time we need to be alert, we need to be conscious, and not allow anything else to come in the way, because that is the real penance of speech, is what Krishna is saying. Speak the truth. Yes, Krishna is not asking you to speak the lies. One doctor told my sister she can never run again properly or even just walk. As a sports player, she got an injury in her ligament, and then anterior cruciate ligament is gone, and now operation needs to be done. Just before the operation, the doctor comes and tells her, it's like, and she just asks sincerely. A young child is asking a doctor, right? What is will I be able to? He said, forget play. You will be able to just walk. You will not be able to run also. She felt like she's falling into a dark pit. That was her psychological impact. But then she decided, I'm not listening to this doctor. He was the best doctor. Parents had searched for the best doctor to do the best work and everything. But the doctor used these words which were troublesome to her. And then she did not like it. She went on for five hours physiotherapy every day. Within 1 year, she again was representing the university in the sports competition. She took part in the dance competition of the university. She won various prizes. It is all in the face of the doctor who has just told nothing is possible now. Well, this aspect is why do we have to add with such certainty which you do not know? There's a possibility this is dangerous. You'll have to work slowly. So many ways he could have told. And normally, luckily, my sister was not one who got allowed the emotions to take control of her. Otherwise, a child. I remember how she had walked with crutches for so long. The same girl who was running around and all was a very known personality, and now has to hold crutches and walk. All people would make fun of her, but she had that fire inside which she did not douse in spite of these words. But here, this is a dharma where the doctor has forgotten in his dharma while speaking this way. Another patient who had been told you don't have too much time to live. The patient goes and lives a happy life for 5 years. When the time is over, now you will not live for more than this. Why should the doctor suddenly go to this statement and make such a? It is rare to have, even the profession's ethical standards don't demand this. You are not supposed to, because nobody knows. Yet people do that. What is the reason? They are failing in their penance of speech, and that is affecting. That's going to affect their karma of their career also afterwards. Somewhere these words come back to them. You told me like this is not right, and then this person feels disturbed why people are not recognizing my good work and only remembering the bad work. What to do? That is life, is it not? Our long moments are only going to be used against us every time. So why create these moments? Try to move away from them, is what Krishna is saying. Penance of speech is an important thing. With one more, we'll stop. There's a third penance. There is this penance called the penance of mind also. मनः प्रसादः सौम्यत्वं मौनमात्मा विनिग्रहः भावसंशुद्धिरित्येतत् तपो मानसम उच्यते. with a blissful mind, maintaining a balance, and controlling the mind with a resolute silence, thus engaging in the inner cleansing when a being you find. He is said to be performing the penance of the mind. So, this is the tapa of the manas tapa. Mind is blissful, maintaining a balance, controlling a mind with resolute silence. So, sometimes there are certain kinds of sadhanas where you don't speak at all for a while. Maunam. Anybody knows of any such sadhanas where not speaking at all? Yes?
Vipassana.
Vipassana. Oh, that is a very famous one. Vipassana. How is it? How many days, Srinivasanji, Vipassana? It is for
Only for, I think 11 days, if I'm
11
not
days. Yes, yes. So imagine 11
no
days,
babysitter.
not a single word. You're not allowed to think also. They tell you don't engage in any thoughts, intellectual games also. Just mauna only. Why? It's a real test of character. Being able to keep quiet is also difficult. And that is when you realize. And then there are people when they start doing day one, some are able to they run away on day one. Then there's a pattern.
Yeah.
There are people who watch, they say, you this many days. Yes, Srinivasi, have you done that sometime? Vipassana. I think you're on mute. Sorry, Ji. You're on mute, so I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, sorry.
Ji, Ji.
Next month I'm planning to go for their first session.
Oh, you're planning
My
to.
daughter has done it twice.
Oh, she's
My
done it
daughter has
twice.
done it very
Wow.
well. Yeah.
Okay, Srinivasi. So it is a test of character. Not anybody can do that. After 3 days, 5 days, then the mind starts playing games because the mind, which is always known to continuously have its own way of function, it's like a cleansing ritual of the mind also and body as well. When a person does that, you observe yourself, your own company, you understand your thoughts. Sometimes, as Tukaram said, apla samvad aplashi, we engage in dialogues with others. We try to use our tarka against others, trying to prove, disprove, all of that. Now try using that tarka against yourself. Are you having your own stand? Are you going to weigh what is your counter to yourself? And then you will get the answer, and that is a different type of sadhana. They say maunam sarvartha sadhanam. Sometimes it is being in maun which gives you answers also. It is said like it is only in the calm that the divine works. When there is agitation, the divine does not function. Something like that with the mind also. With the mind peaceful, you can do anything. Yes,
Yeah,
please.
sorry, Discuss. Can we say here, like, as you said that, like when we are in the mode of sleep, right? So
Hmm.
we are quiet only. Of course, I mean, say that our mind is working. That time also, sometimes when we wake up, we are like, something happens sometimes that we are like, okay, I wanted this answer and I got it when I was in sleep.
That is a good sleep, we can say. That is, they say yoga nidra is the nidra when you enter into that state. When you enter consciously into the state of sleep. There are ways of consciously going to sleep also. It's not like battery out and person is fallen onto the bed. They slowly they start focusing and then withdrawing. They say there are different states of Jagrati also which you can get. Sushupti is there. All these states, answers are got. But otherwise, many times if somebody is running after me in the sleep or somebody is trying to attack me, and then you wake up with a panic
No,
and
not
shot.
that, not
Yeah.
that. Like sometimes, when we wake up, we get to feel that okay, there was something which I got, like as an answer to.
Yes, Deepti ji.
It
And
happens. It
Nidra
happens.
is Nidra is our one way of connecting to the divine also. If you see, we are talking about Manas Tapa. We're talking about Manas Tapa. There's a beautiful Shiva Manas Puja of Shankaracharya. Here he says, Nidram Samadhi Stitihi. My Nidra is my state of Samadhi with you. I am entering into Nidra also. He goes on and it's like Ratnair Kalpitam Asanam Himajalair Snanam Cha Divyambaram. Nana Ratna Vibhushitam Gamala Modankitam Chandanam. If somebody is listening to it, they'll feel this person is sitting in a temple surrounded by so many people. Veena, Bheri, Mrudanga, Kahala, Kala, Geetam, Nrutyam, Tatha. He's saying so many things are going on. Only in the end we understand it is inside of his mind. He is going, and it's like this was the best one. In lockdown, we could not visit temples. Start chanting Shiva Manas Puja. You're going to go for Pradakshina also. It's like Prana, Shariram, Gruham, Puja, Te Vishayopabhogana Rachanam, Nidram, Samadhi Sthiti. Nidra is the state of Samadhi or oneness. It's an awakened state. Well, we are not awake when we are awake only. Here, these yogis are talking about being awake even in their state of nidra as well. So conscious sleep. The mother and Sri Aurobindo also talked about the very little time of period is required for sleep also. Actually, if you are in that state, it is only the initial and the after coming in and going out. Many yogis they sleep for very little. We look at Arjuna, Gudakesha. He didn't need to sleep only. He had done a particular sadhana and attained a siddhi where sleep was not required, yet he was alert, physically strong, mentally also perfect. So nicely he could do all of these. Well, this is the thing. When we understand the quality of sleep, this is what people say. You should try to, when they say you don't want rapid eye movement sleep, we want another type of sleep which is going to help you. These are all classifications which we can keep making. But the state of it's a consequence. When you are awakened, probably people can do japa and then enter into sleep before sleeping. That would help them go quietly, and then all other aspects can be forgotten. It becomes a great, it becomes a part of sadhana also of an individual. There is no break when a person goes to sleep. Sadhana goes on nirantar, continuously. So I think we saw three types of tapa. We'll stop here. One is the sharira tapa, there is the vangmana tapa, and there is the manas tapa. uh, yes, Srinivasji,
So
probably
Ashwinji,
if I, can we, can I just
I have a
because of,
question.
yes, can I complete with the Shanti Mantra and look at the question? Because I think everybody will have to leave. Today's session I've just extended a bit. So I'll conclude that and then look at it. Yes, ji. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyat dukha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tatsat. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om Shanti Shanti. Ji. Hari Om. Yes, please.
Hari Om ji,
Yeah,
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om ji. Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om
Hari
ji.
Om ji.
Hari Om ji.
Sorry.
Hari Om. Ji. Hari Om.
I just,
हाँ.
Shishiji wanted to know whether tapa and vrata, whether they are the same. Because generally with mauna, there is a term between
Vrata.
that is vrata, mauna vrata, not mauna tapa. So whether both are same,
Yes.
tapa and a vrata.
हाँ. So vrata is something like a pratigna which has been taken, no? Like an oath. Is it not? I have taken the oath of this. Is it not, Srinivasji? When you use the word.
Hari Om.
Yeah, but
Hari Om.
the purpose is same.
The purpose is
The
same,
purpose
but
of vrata
tapa,
and tapa is same.
we have seen tapa, is it not, of three types. Probably vrata also is of three types. Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic, the same way as Krishna is saying tapa is of three types. Because if you see Bhishma Pratigna, I think he could have forgotten that Pratigna when Draupadi was in front of him, what was happening in the court, he could have forgotten. What was he, why was the reason to be attached to it so much that he is not able to see? So here there is an attachment in Vrata. Many times I become important. In the Tapashcharya, I should become least important. So somewhere if the divine wishes, can we say, no, this divine you cannot, now I will not intervene because I am in Maun Vratas. There is a fire burning elsewhere, but I am following Maun Vrata now, so I will not speak. It is God's job to come and douse that fire. Or invaders are attacking, but I am in my Vrata of quietude, so I will not attack. Would you say, Srinivasi, that Vrata is useful, or is it a right one? No, is it not? So we cannot lose our,
No.
because here what has happened is I have become more important than the entire, our aim is what? We are connected with the world as well. Individual has taken more importance to the, and then anything else, maybe even the divine. One person had a dislike, he was like, I will not, there was a flood, this is a story of course, there's a story of a person getting caught in a flood. He somehow finds a place on top of a tree, and but he's a great bhakta of the divine, all his life he has done bhakti. He says, no, I will not escape now until divine has to save me. It is divine's job to save me. And he finds his place, and now I'll sit in. You know, when man comes, he says, no, no, he says, come, I'll take you. He's like, no, you are a human being. I don't want to get help from you. I want divine to come directly. And then what happens afterwards? What happens to every human being? Mrityu comes because now this person is now, he dies. And then he has a dialogue with the divine and he says, what, I am your bhakta all my life. You have told this, that yoga kshemam vamyam. You did not help me at all. What is this promise you have not upheld? He says, what, I came to you in this form of a human. I asked you to come and you were saying no. You turned me away. Now what can I do? Is it not, Srinivasi? So yes, probably we need not. This is we can say Vrata is a oath and all. But Krishna has not used Vrata in this entire adhyay, because who is that who is taking the oath? Let the divine do everything. You do the tapasya to recognize the divine. But again, having a dhira is important. Nishtha is important. Krishna uses these all words in the Gita. So it is good. It is sometimes sankalpa, they say. I have taken this sankalpa of doing a particular sadhana. I'll do it fully, no matter what happens. I have a brother who is a software engineer. He did a very strong sankalpa of Purushan, and he kept on doing this chanting every day, whatever happens, and he would take bath and do this chanting. Now there were difficulties, he was experiencing all of it, but one day at 11:45 in the night he takes bath and sits and completes it, because throughout the day he did not. That was a work from home culture going on. From morning he could not, he had duties of home, daughter and other things also, all this, but he did not allow it, and that is a sankalpa which has been taken. But if you see there's a flexibility that not this time, it's alright, I will try to complete it no matter what, God will give me the time. And what he got at the end of that sankalpa, it is his only. Ya pashyati saha pashyati. What he got great experiences because of following it. Rigidity should not be there in sadhana, that is important. But there should be a firmness also. Without that, what is the use? Ji, ji. Yes, please.
Very nicely
Hariom ji.
explained.
Hariom ji.
Thank you so
Hariom.
much.
Hariom ji. Hariom.
Absolutely right.
Om Ji.
Hariom ji.
Hari Om Ji.
Hariom ji. Hariom.
Hari Om.
Hariom.
Hari Om.
Hariom.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ
धन्यवाद
ಹರಿಯಂ
जी.
ಜಿ.
हरिओम जी. हरिओम. जी.
Sushruti,
जी सर. जी.
I just want to make a comment that the essence of
Hariom.
Shloka 15
हाँ.
has been incorporated in the medical curriculum for medical students,
Okay जी.
like how to communicate.
हाँ हाँ. How to
So,
communicate.
students
Okay.
how to communicate.
Okay.
So having communication skills, how to communicate with the patients,
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
using the right words. The choice of words, as you said, makes a lot
जी.
of difference,
जी sir.
in the outcome also.
जी 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 जी.
So
So that is so nice to know. That is so nice to know that. जी
it's a
जी.
part of medical curriculum now.
It's a part of the
So
curriculum. जी जी. So vak tapasya, no? So even so doctors are also a type of tapasya only, is it not? A yoga is going on with physical also. Sharir is going on. Shrama is taking place. Then there is vak also. It's so important. Difficult also at times. So many
yes,
things have to be dealt with, and yet it becomes very insignificant sometimes, because you have now saved the patient's life. You have done all what is possible. Behind, nobody knows what has been done. But on the outside, the people feel, now I need to look at what I'm doing. But then sometimes that creates trouble. So instead, that also can sometimes, it is a dharma also. We're holding on to our words, and that time dharma protects the person who is upholding it as well. That's a very nice thing to. Thank you for sharing, Dr. Atul. Hari Om,
Hari
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om,
Thank you.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om.